If you want to see more videos and interviews like this from influential people in tech, finance, and sports, subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell to be alerted. And go a step further and join the YouTube and membership area for early releases of videos like this. I'm out of here. Ha! Yes, your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another Kicking It session. Today I've got a returning guest, 3 Clips. What's going on, 3 Clips? How are you, man?
I'm doing great, CB. Thank you.
Good.
It's been a while.
It's been 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's been
Time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, if you guys haven't seen the first interview I did with 3 Clips, it was a good one. It's about 2 years ago. I'll leave a link in the description below. But today, I've got 3 Clips back on because he's got a new trading platform, a new trading, I don't want to know if you want to call it mentorship. What do you want to call that?
Well, let's see. Since we last spoke, I created a new venture called SMA Trading. And SMA Trading has 2 meanings to it. One is smart money analysis trading. It's all based on teaching people to use something that is not typically taught in the trading world, to implement the ability to read what smart money is doing and apply that to your current trading, whatever it is. And the other side is save my account trading, which is really kind of how it started. I know a lot of traders are struggling in this business, and they were supposed to struggle because they're not being taught the proper education that they need to be able to survive in this. The game was rigged and built to be able to trap traders, and there's a lot on my website about that. But that's why I started this venture, because since the whole COVID thing came down, a lot of people have had major changes in their jobs and their workplaces and things like that. So a lot of people naturally have been coming to learn to trade. They've been coming to try to make ends meet by getting into trading. And I saw that as a recipe for disaster, because I've been doing it for about 12 years now. I know the mindset and the skills that are needed to be able to survive in this. And typically, as you know, right, you've been trading for a long time, CB, right?
Yeah, over 15 years, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Over 15
so
years.
I mean, you have people who want to get into trading. They think they're going to make money, yet they're not aware of that it takes around 4 to 5 years, we would say, about 4 to 5 years to statistically stop even losing money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, 4 to 5 years if you're truly dedicated. Like, I was off and on.
Yeah.
Like, and through my journey, I was off and on with it. I would get frustrated, take a year and a half, 2 off, dibble and dabble with it in between those times, but really wasn't focused on it. And then I would come back. So for me, it took longer. I would say almost 8 years. Yeah. So
right, these are the numbers, right? This is reality, right? Mm-hmm. And people think they can just come into trading and say, I'm just going to make money. I'm going to follow a few indicators. I'm going to take a few trading courses.
Right.
I don't even, and some people say, I'm just going to watch some YouTube videos, and they think that's sufficient. They think that's enough. And, they're in for a rude awakening. They're in for disappointment. So I saw this wave of people coming into trading, and I said, okay, these people are going to get slaughtered, right? It's going to be like Bitcoin 20K all over again, sucking everybody into the hype, right? Except this is different because people are now out of desperation forced into trading, and desperation and trading are 2 things you don't want to mix together.
Right.
As the world changes and people start looking at what's out there, looking what education's out there, it's been set up and it's designed to get you to lose your money. And people, they don't understand that either, because they think, I'm just going to take some courses, I'm going to read some books, and they think that that's enough. So I started SMA Trading because it was a solution for the wave of pain that was going to come. I guess you can say that, right? Either people that have never traded before, they're going to learn to trade, or the people who have maybe taken it maybe not seriously. Maybe they're going to revisit it to try to make money in trading, right? And one of the things that I teach all my students, and the ones that I'm consulting with, is you never ever think about the money. The first thing you think about, as you know, right, is the first thing is how much can you lose, right? But everyone's thinking about the money, and I don't blame them. right? That's how the system's been designed, right? Even all these ads on YouTube saying, oh, you can make money this, you can make money that. And it's complete opposite to how professionals think. Complete opposite.
So money management is the number one rule to be successful at trading.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. You know
that. If you're a cowboy, that's what we called it. If you're a cowboy, you know, you may be able to flip your account in a week or even less than that if you get lucky. But once you hit a losing streak, you're going to blow all of your gains out, and you're going to be left with nothing. Like I always say this, I give this analogy when trading. The money in your account is your fuel. If you run out of fuel, you can no longer drive the car.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So you don't want to run out of money when trading. So, you know, we're going to get into your system a little bit, and you can explain a little bit more about why your system and your trading, your training is different than others in a second. But let's go and talk over some macro crypto news here, man. I want to know, we've just literally broken a trend line to the upside. And
Yes.
what are your thoughts where we are right now? At the time of recording, guys, we're at $11,064 in Bitcoin. Tell me your take and where you're positioned right now with Bitcoin.
Okay, so I have been quite active in your Webbot room, and I've been saying to the group there, because I have I wanted to give people a bit of a taste of what SMA is like, and that's why I've been active in your group before we were doing this interview. And you know, the people there, they'll tell you that the accuracy on how I'm able to call things, it's nothing short of amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And what we've been saying since what we started the month with is we first saw smart money was likely going to set up for a drop at the start of the month, and they did. So our call was we were going to drop and then we were going to rise. And people will say, well, how did you see that? And for those that have never looked at the way that I analyze charts, I'm a volumes guy, right? One thing I teach is volume is king. Most of my students know that, right? And so one of the things that smart money, they can hide in the candles, right? Especially according to like Wyckoff and not too many people know about Tom Williams, but these guys taught that smart money, they drop prices to rise and they rise prices to drop. So what I was able to see was that they've been accumulating for the last, couple weeks at least, right? The last couple of weeks they've been buying on the drops, and I teach people people have never traded before, even people have no experience in trading. I actually prefer, by the way, to train people that have never traded before, because it's so contrary to what the books teach you. So, but anyways, we've been saying that Bitcoin was showing possible bullish volume, and it's been there was actually 3 signs that they've been buying on the drop, right? It was very obvious. So we've been calling for the drop at the start of the month and then a rise, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. And before any sign of the breakout came, we were already trying to look at position, I believe. Let me just take a look at my chart here. It was around, I believe, 10,000. Is it 10,000? Yeah. Okay. So I'm just looking at my chart here. So it was looking around 10,000. So 10,500 and 10,200 was where I've been seeing smart money buying. So that's why we've been looking to get in positions around there as well, right? But one of the things that, as you know, in trading is you can see the direction of the trade, but you can still lose the trade, right?
Right.
And I'm really accurate in my direction, right? Because I'm able to follow what the smart money is doing. Maybe I'm an expert at reading volume, which has a 90% accuracy rate, according to Tom Williams, right? But what I do personally, and I teach my students, is how to do precision trades once you have that direction. So once you know the direction, right, then I help traders refine their entries. And that's why if you look on the website, there's a bunch of case studies. I don't know if you looked at that. That's how I'm able to sit down with traders, and I'm able to increase, from just a high level overview, spending 5 minutes with them, trades that they normally would have taken by 38% to 800%. And there's some examples where you can actually take a look at some of the people that I've even helped, and these are even some people that I've even helped them right on the discovery call, not even the mentorship. So these small adjustments, once traders are able to read the charts, and that I find, CB, that's what's missing. That's what's kind of lost in the world of trading. Trading has become very methodical, right? They're trying to force a pattern, this box-like thinking onto the charts, right? And they don't understand that charting is not a black and white thing, right? You need to learn how to read markets. And then once you can read markets, then you take your pattern, your chart, or whatever it is method that you're using. I don't care what it is. Then if you put it over that, your success rate you'll find will be much higher. Otherwise, like you said, you'll be going in wins and streaks, and you'll never find consistency because you're trading in this like box-like thinking. I'm sure that a lot of people, when they sit down in trading, they've been taught to identify this pattern, right, and then you take it. But they're not taught how to read markets. They don't understand what is it that moves price, and that's kind of where I start off with, right? And I've had a couple debates with even some people in your room, actually, about the fundamentals. Now, you being in trading for so long, I'm curious to hear what your view is on this, because what I tell people is that price does not move based on fundamentals. Price does not move based on support and resistances either. Price doesn't move on candlestick patterns. Price moves on only one thing, right? It's the overtaking and the flooding of buyers and sellers thrown onto the exchange, whether it be fake volume, right? Doesn't matter, right? When those order books are flooded one way, price will go one way or the other way. And so if you can read the volume, and crypto is so nice that, the volume is so good. That's why I've been focusing on crypto, even though, I still mentor traders and I help traders in the Forex world, right? Because it's the same game. Volume is something that it's a lost art, not too many people are teaching. And the people that I've seen that are talking about it, they're not using it nowhere to its full potential. So that's
I know I don't I don't use volume like I should, because I do know that that's a very like you said, that is the telltale sign for an individual looking at a chart. So is there anywhere, because here's the thing that I've always encountered over the years of seeing other traders online and people pitching and selling trading courses and stuff. Do you have is there an area where you actually have calls that people can track, or do you?
Yeah, I do. Okay. So I have my own trade journal. It's a Telegram channel that I opened when I started really in crypto. So it goes all the way back to 2000 and I believe the near end of 2017. You can actually go all the way back, right? And that is a paid service, right? I've also been doing weekly Bitcoin, or just not Bitcoin, but live sessions. So live training sessions. And those have been free. And I've been doing that every Wednesday since 2017 as well, right? So people can check those, right? And on top of that, right, like I said, I've been also kind of active more in, remember, it was like I was saying, it was just when really at the start of this year, around February, March, around that time, did I start to come out of my shell, right? I've been kind of hiding in the background, kind of quietly training about, 100 select people in this group that I was invited in, right? And I was doing private sessions in there, but because of what was happening in the world, I realized there was a lot of people going to get into trading, and I decided, okay, it's time to go out and share, because I saw that the way I'm looking at charts and the way that I teach people to look at charts, it's different from everything else out there. It's different from everything else out there. And that's why I'm fairly confident I can sit down with almost any trader. I don't care who you are. I can sit down with you and I'm pretty confident, right? There's a very high probability that I can make you a better trader just by a couple ideas, right? And whether it's 38% increase or whether it's 800% increase, trading, it's such a fine art. And where you place your entry, where you place your stop loss, right, where you place your take profit, that changes everything. right? And so I teach people how to put those parameters around the idea of reading smart money, because once you're able to read the direction, it gives you a huge advantage. Most people are just kind of guessing in the dark, right? They don't even know which support resistances are going to break, right? And that's why when I was in the room, I was saying, this support, this resistance we're heading into, this is likely to break, and because it's clear in the volume. So I have an advantage over most traders, because most traders aren't even looking at what's called the path of least resistance. They're not looking about the strength in the market. That's what's missing in people's charts. They're looking at price and time, but that third component, right? Which smart money, and this is kind of what I've been educating people, it's a bit of a scandal, right? Because it's very strange to me that people have heard of everything else, but not too many people know who Tom Williams is. Not too
Okay, so tell the audience about Tom Williams and how, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you said he comes out of the Wyckoff's work, right? So kind of explain who Tom Williams is for.
Okay, so the napkin story is that Wyckoff was the one who discovered that's how smart money moves, and he was educating people on the real rules of the game, right? And that was in the 1930s. He dedicated his life to educating traders on how smart money works. Then Tom Williams took his ideas, and Tom Williams is known as Wyckoff on steroids. He's the one who founded something called volume spread analysis. That's where I started 12 years ago, because my first mentor, he was a volume expert, right? That's where I began.
If you guys ever hear someone talk about VSA, that's what they're referring to.
Yes, VSA. And VSA, only maybe 2% of traders today use it. Mm-hmm. Yet it is touted to have a 90% accuracy. So I said, that's really strange. How is it that, and this is nothing new, right? The 1930s, and Tom Williams, I believe he passed away in the early 2000s. How is it that a lot of traders aren't using these things? And it kind of hit me that, well, if you think about it, right, the brokers and the smart money, they don't want people to know how to win. In fact, if you win, you become a menace to them, right? The broker, and what is it, his name, Anton Kriel, he's big in the Forex world, right? Mm-hmm. He talks very much about how the brokers are meant to take your money. They're waiting there to take your money. They know you're going to lose. Trading's all about probabilities, right? They know within 90 days, they're going to clear out 90% of your account, right? For 90% of the traders. So that's their business model, right? You were meant to lose. And that's what and so I'm not surprised that really these things haven't been taught. I mean, about baby pips and all that in the Forex world, right? There's no mention of Wyckoff, or that was just the starting point, right? Wyckoff was the beginning, right? Then Tom Williams took that and made it work into stocks and things like that. Forex trading wasn't around back then. Then I had to take, right, and this took many, many years, right? This took around, I would say, 5 to 6 years for crafting volume spread analysis to work in Forex, right? And so we took VSA and we evolved it further. So, which is now called SMA, smart money analysis. That's what I teach, right? It's a proprietary way of trading. It uses concepts. So if you think of it like, Tom Williams was one level, and then SMA is just taking things, is like VSA on steroids. I guess you can say that. So SMA is VSA on steroids, and VSA was powerful enough as is, but nobody's using it, nobody's teaching it, right? And
so tell me, with your current analysis of the market using your SMA strategy, what are you seeing for Bitcoin? Here we're at October 9th, 2020.
Yes.
What are your takes on where we're going in the short run? I don't know how far out your trading strategy works. Kind of give us a little intel on that, or detail about how that works after you kind of give us your take on where we are with Bitcoin.
Sure. Okay, so first of all, when I was talking about methodical trading methods, SMA is not a method. It's a way of looking at the market, and that's what you also hear from VSA. It's creative trading, looking at a holistic approach, it took me a long time to learn that, right? And
so it's no X, Y, like follow step one, then do step two,
oh,
then step three.
You can do that. You can do that. But because it's a way of looking at the market, you can build structures, like you said, step one, step two, around that. If you want just a little bit taste of it, right? It's like turning up the meter for, turning up the power of SMA. It depends on how far you want to go, right? And that's why I can take I can take this and I can apply it to anybody's style of trading. It's not like I take you and I throw you into my style of trading. A lot of traders, they take my ideas and they apply it to what they're currently doing. But what most books in education will do is they'll move you to a whole different method, and they'll say, no, you got to do it this way, right? And so going back to what you were asking about Bitcoin, I've already said in the room, some people have asked me, well, how far does it go? And so right now I'm looking at Bitcoin, and we'll see if I'm right, because I was wrong last time on our call, right? You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Right now, right?
Well, I mean, you're not going to be right all the time.
No, of course not, right? And it's just it's all about, if you're wrong, you got to cut it quick, and if you're right, you got to let them run, right? So if I'm right, I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, and the last talk we kind of had is around 11,171, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just over there.
Yep.
Volume tells me right now that that's likely going to break. That volume's telling me right now it's likely going to break. And I have these projections for this month. They seem kind of far out, but these are just, with this month, we could potentially hit, just a very simple calculation I did was 12,370. It's the same calculation I gave in the room when people were asking, how far did you see it going? Like back when I actually made the call in the room, which I was telling you about, right? That I did make a live call in your WebBot room to buy Bitcoin around 9,200. Mm-hmm. And those that followed that one, that was a 41x trade, 41x, right? And I said we were likely going to go to, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but our top was 12,300, right? And we did hit that top. Now, with this month, we'll see if it hits it. But within this month, Bitcoin has the potential to go to 12,300 again this month.
Okay. Well, I guess this time we're on the same page.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we're heading higher. Now, does your trading strategy give you time frames because for me, mm-hmm. 3 clips, it's all about your exit. You can be early on the entry somewhat. You can be late on the entry somewhat. If it's in the right direction, you can still possibly win that trade. But the exit is the most critical part. How do you set up for your exits?
Okay.
Kind of give us your exit strategies on your trades in general.
Strategies. Okay. Okay. Without giving all the secrets away for people who've been paying for it. So.
Yeah, just a high level.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, if you can, let me see if I can simplify. So a lot of people, they find it a simple way to understand it like this. Trading is very much like surfing, right? We have these waves that we're trying to ride, right? Mm-hmm. And most people are trying to get on the wave as the wave comes. But there are ways that I teach, right, that you can use the same principles from hydrodynamics, because what is it that creates the wave? Isn't it the tide? It's the tide that pulls in that creates the wave. Without the tide, you're not going to have the wave, right? So you can actually use the past to determine as a way of, looking at the calculations of the tide to predict where the wave is going to go next. So not only am I able to see in advance where the support and resistance levels are, before even the chart even gets there, I have ways of even being able to show where the support and resistances are before they get there. I have ways of reading the smart money, whether they're buying or they're selling at that level. And that's how I was able to call the 12,300, because that was the top of that was the future resistance point that I had calculated. And then at that point, there was a clear signal that showed that smart money was selling into that move. And that was the very top of that spike over there.
Nice, nice.
So right, so
so
same
you're
thing. So it's the same thing right now. What I would be doing, right, is I have my target, and just because it hits my target doesn't mean I'm going to sell, right? So that tie into what you're saying. The exit's the most important point. I don't go for what I want. I teach my students and those who come to SMA trading says you're nothing in the market. Okay, the less you are, the better, right? And your job is to just follow the smart money. If they want to break a support resistance, they're going to break it. Your little pattern, your little this or that, like they're going to break it. They're going to flood the order books and they're going to break it. Okay, so if you learn to follow what the smart money is doing, so when it does approach your target per se, right, you look to see what smart money is doing. Are they actually selling into that target? Because if they're selling at that target, then yes, that target will likely bounce, right? But if they're not selling, right, then it's probably going to break, because they're the ones that run this market at the end of the day. Big money. This is the game, and it hasn't changed all the way since stocks, forex, and now crypto. It's the same principles.
Interesting. Let's take a look at your website. You've got, it's called SMA Trading. It looks like smart a little bit. SMAtrading.io, guys, and he's got some free consulting on there as well. Do you even look at fundamentals when it comes to trading, like for example with cryptos and you know, Bitcoin in particular, or are the fundamentals kind of, they have to manifest within your SMA trading strategy, so you really don't even need to look at that?
You think you just answered the question. I don't need to look at it. Like for example, with my 6,800, the crown trade where we made, you know, over 100 to 1, right? On that one trade, we got in at 6,800. Yes, we did have the Bitcoin halvening in our favor, right? Right. It was there. It was something I noted in my trade plans, right? But it was not a requirement for entry, right? The news and fundamentals and things like that, these are just catalysts for smart money to make moves. But ultimately, they're going to make those moves in the order books. You're going to be able to see it on the charts. Yeah. So that's why I teach, you know, the charts never lie, right? And a lot of times, right, people will get confused with the news, right? Because a lot of the news sometimes smart money uses that as an excuse to get out. Right, I was helping a couple students.
Buy the rumor, sell the news, right? That's what it is.
Exactly, right? So, you know, sometimes you have that, and you have that component where, okay, if you follow the news, like your news, some people's ideas of their news is different to what maybe smart money's using for news. And most of the time, they're using those news to offload to all the dumb money. That's a textbook thing. Like even in forex, if you remember, right? They use the news to run the stops, right? And a lot of the times, you know, people don't understand that it depends, right? And I've had the debate on this with people because they don't quite understand how news affects the waves, right? Markets and price action, that is an expression of energy on the charts. And when that energy is strong and bullish, and you introduce a negative news, right? It's going to have maybe somewhat of a little bit of an effect. But if you announce positive news in a bullish market, and we saw that many times all through before the 2020K crash, right? We had a lot of good news, but you know, price just wasn't able to recover, right? Sometimes people would be shocked, like, what's going on? The fundamentals are positive. Why is price falling? Because what's happening is that you have these positive news that's coming out in an environment that's ripe for sellers, right? Or if you have a negative news that's an environment of ripe for sellers, you're gonna have a big crash, right? But most of these times, like I teach, right, most of these news events, I count them as manipulation because they're very short-lived. You'll find almost every single news event, and I'm sure you've heard about it in the forex trading world. Some traders, what they do is they wait for the move to come for whatever fundamental news that comes out, and they trade it back to the open of when that news release came out. And they have a whole method around that. I don't know if you ever heard about that. But most news events are completely retraced. Right? And what they do is they just create these bends in the waves. And again, smart money, they will manipulate prices at these specific points, right? Because smart money doesn't just move markets whenever they want to, right? They wait for specific key weaknesses or strengths in the market to make their move. It costs money to be able to manipulate prices, right? And so it's expensive. They don't want to control markets contrary to what people think. They will manipulate and bend and influence based on strength or weakness in the volume. And so if you can read that, you know already likely what they're going to do before they do it. And it's just a probability, right? But again, it's a 90%, you have a 90% accuracy if you know how to read the volume and the spread of the candles, and you tie it up as a holistic approach, because it's not just a one time frame thing. So for example, look at what they're doing on maybe the higher time frames. If you're doing this on a 5 minute, okay, that's gonna, maybe a small volume signal will give you a small move. You get a volume signal on the daily, you get a bigger move. On the monthly, you get on Bitcoin, you get thousands of dollars of moves, right? So it all depends on knowing where you are, and the type of methods that are around today. They don't really teach that creative trading. That creative trading is kind of a lost art. Most people just want this turnkey system where they can just, they just plug in and they think they can just force that onto the market and get consistent gains, and it just doesn't work like that.
Oh, you mean the Holy Grail?
Oh, yes, the Holy Grail, which it does exist, by the way. The Holy Grail does exist, and so.
Tell me about this. I
never. Holy Grail? What's the Holy Grail?
I'm not a believer in this Holy Grail thing.
No.
Only way it's a Holy Grail if you control
I'm telling you, it exists.
the market.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to save.
If you're the market maker, go ahead. Let's see it.
Okay,
let's hear it from
the Holy Grail is this. The Holy Grail is not one thing, and it's not what people think it is. Okay. The Holy Grail is three things. Okay. First, it's a good trade idea. You need good trading ideas, right? Second is what we spoke about, money and risk management. And there's many components to that, right? And third is the proper mindset. There's a proper trading professional mindset. If you miss any one of these things, the whole trium falls apart. It's a trinity, right? They're all connected. You can have great trading ideas, right? But you have poor risk management. And even if you can follow your plan, you're gonna fall apart. You can have great trading ideas, right? You can have good risk management, but you cannot follow your plan, right? Or you break your rules, right? Again, that doesn't work, right? So any different combination of these things, but if you're missing one, right, then it completely falls apart. But the Holy Grail of everything, all this put together, is what I teach together. That good trading idea, I teach people that is creative trading. Creative trading. Looking at the market from a holistic approach, learning to read markets, not read indicators. It's a whole different type of thinking.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, man, and I agree with you there. I guess if you look at it that way. Any last thoughts, man? I appreciate you coming on. This is again the second time.
Yeah.
3 Clips has been on, guys. The first time, did you have your system developed at that point when we first met?
Oh yes, I did. I did.
You did? Okay.
I kept it kind of to myself and
Gotcha.
To the people but it was only because of this, this event here that I decided to, go out and really help people, because I realized more people are going to get into this, and, might as well equip them with the best of the best. I've looked at everything else out there and I haven't found anything that compares to this, and no one's teaching it. So why would I not come out and teach it?
One last question I have for you is, if VSA works well, what inefficiencies or shortcomings that you see with VSA that you felt like you needed to improve upon?
VSA lacks structure. VSA lacks structure. There's no mention of really entries or stop losses or anything like that, even in the main book, Master the Markets by Tom Williams. VSA lacks structure. It also, because the volume in Forex wasn't really true volume, right? You get many false signals. So, and most people, with a lack of structure, it becomes very difficult to put anything together. So most people don't even look at it. So SMA is the missing piece. It's the structure. How can I say this? Okay. So VSA was the missing piece in most people's trading, right? Volume spread analysis, the missing piece in most people's trading. SMA is the missing piece in VSA, if this makes sense.
Yep. Makes perfectly good sense.
And so I wanted to finalize with this is that we have many different solutions, right? And one thing that hasn't been fully advertised on the website because it's new is we built an indicator to actually spot these, to be able to spot what the smart money is doing. And it's been modified according to SMA rules. So it becomes like this trainer. It's like this trainer guide, right? And it's something that, we've just finished it. I have my students using it. People that are under mentorship, they have this indicator. They give it to them for free. But it's we will be distributing it out to people that want to get a subscription to that indicator, because it is really, really solid. And
Nice.
you just apply that to your current trading, whatever you're doing, right? You just have this extra confirmation of likely what smart money is doing, right? And you add that into whatever trading you're currently doing. You're doing a breakout method, right? If you're trading breakouts right now, like if you're trying to take a 11,000 breakout to that 12,000 mark, right? Just like what I told you, your indicator would show you that smart money is looking like they want to break this resistance, and so you would take that breakout. Whereas before, if you didn't see smart money wanting to do that, then you can kind of use it as a filter, and so your success rate jumps up, right? Because every method, and I can tell you this from experience, every method that I've ever tested, as soon as you apply volume to add it to it, it increases its success rate by 100%.
Nice.
Every
Nice.
method that I've tested. Yeah.
Wow. Well, there you have it, guys. 3 clips, 3 back on with CB. Thanks for coming on. And if you guys want to get more information about that, I'll have the links in the description below. But also, check him out in the chat rooms. He's in the Telegram webbot room, but we're winding that down. I want you to join him over in the Red Pill Zone room on Discord soon. I don't think he's joined yet, but he's going to get over there as well. And he'll be doing his thing in the Trade or Die text channel. And he also has his own channel as well. I think you have to pay for that for now. But check him out, guys. That's it. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And click that bell to receive more videos like this. Strike first. I like this song right here, man. Cobra Kai. We're out of here.
All right. Thanks, CB.